Welcome. Today, at Dr. Chris's Key to the Manager's Mindset, we will be looking at the psychology of money, how behavioral economics affects everyday spending. Ever wondered why it's so hard to resist a sale, even when you don't need anything? Well, you're not alone. We've all been there, drawn in by the allure of a bargain, the thrill of getting something new, the satisfaction of saving money, or so we think. But what if I told you there's a whole science behind these seemingly simple spending decisions? A science that explores the intricate dance between our mind and our money. Welcome to the intriguing world of behavioral economics. Now, you might be wondering, what is behavioral economics? In a nutshell, it's a field that combines insights from psychology, judgment and decision-making, and economics to generate a more accurate understanding of human behavior. It challenges the traditional economic theory that we are all rational beings who always make decisions that are in our best interest. In reality, our spending decisions are anything but rational. They're influenced by a myriad of factors: emotions, cognitive biases, societal norms, and so much more. For instance, have you ever bought something on a whim only to regret it later? That's impulse buying for you. Or felt a pang of guilt while handing over cash but not when swiping your card? That's the pain of paying in action. Understanding these behavioral economic concepts can give us a fresh lens to look at our personal financial management. It can help us decode why we spend the way we do and uncover strategies to make smarter financial decisions. So whether you're a seasoned saver, a reckless spender, or somewhere in between, this journey into the psychology of money is bound to offer you some intriguing insights. After all, when it comes to money, the more we understand about our behavior, the better we can control it. So let's delve deeper into this fascinating world of behavioral economics and see how it shapes our spending habits. Behavioral economics isn't your traditional economics. It's all about understanding the why behind our financial decisions. It's the study of psychology as it relates to the economic decision-making processes of individuals and institutions. Now, let's contrast this with traditional economics. Classical economic theories tend to assume that we're all perfectly rational beings, always making optimal decisions to maximize our wealth. But let's be real, we're humans, not robots. Here's what makes behavioral economics fascinating. It acknowledges our human quirks, our emotions, our cognitive biases, and yes, even our irrationality. It understands that we don't always make decisions based on cold, hard facts. Sometimes we're swayed by emotions. Sometimes we're influenced by societal norms. Sometimes we're just plain impulsive. So why is it crucial to understand behavioral economics for personal finance? Well, recognizing that our financial decisions aren't always based on rational thinking can help us identify patterns in our spending habits. It can help us understand why we splurge on things we don't need or why we struggle to save for the future. And once we understand these patterns, we can start to make changes. We can learn to recognize the triggers that lead to impulsive spending. We can find strategies to overcome the pain of parting with our hard-earned money. And we can learn to create mental accounts to manage our finances better. The fascinating field of behavioral economics also helps us understand the cognitive biases that often lead us astray. These are systematic errors in thinking that affect the decisions and judgments that people make. Some of these biases include overconfidence, where people think they know more than they do, and loss aversion, where the fear of losing something outweighs the potential gain of acquiring it. As we uncover more about behavioral economics, it's clear that our spending decisions aren't always as rational as we think, and that's okay. What's important is that we recognize these behaviors and learn how to make better financial decisions. So let's dive deeper into this intriguing world of behavioral economics and unravel the psychology behind our everyday spending. Impulse buying, we've all been there, haven't we? But what really triggers this? Picture this. You're standing in line at the grocery store and suddenly, a pack of gum or a glossy magazine catches your eye. Before you know it, it's in your cart. You've just fallen prey to impulse buying. Impulse buying is an unplanned decision to buy a product or service made just before the purchase. It's that irresistible urge to splurge on something that you may not necessarily need, but want in the spur of the moment. So what triggers impulse buying? First, emotional factors. Shopping can be an emotional roller coaster. It's the thrill of finding a bargain, the joy of owning something new, or even the comfort of retail therapy. These emotions can nudge you towards impulse buying. Next, psychological factors also play a role. Ever noticed how stores are designed? Products are strategically placed to grab your attention. Those colorful displays, enticing product descriptions, and the subtle scent of fresh baked goods wafting through the air are all psychological triggers. They create a sense of urgency and desire, making it harder for you to resist an impulse buy. Finally, environmental factors. Social influences like peer pressure or societal norms can make us more susceptible to impulse buying. Even the time of the year, think holiday season or sales, can trigger impulsive purchases. As intriguing as impulse buying is, it's crucial to keep it in check. It can lead to overspending and financial stress. So, how do you control it? One effective strategy is to impose a waiting period on yourself. If you see something you want to buy impulsively, don't buy it right away. Wait for a day or two. If you still want it after the waiting period, then consider purchasing it. Chances are, you might not even remember what you wanted to buy in the first place. Another tip is to shop with a list. Stick to it and resist adding anything more to your cart. This can help you stay focused and avoid impulse purchases. Next time you feel the urge to make an impulsive purchase, remember these tips. Have you ever noticed that parting with cash feels more painful than swiping a card? That's what we call the pain of paying. This intriguing phenomenon is a cornerstone of behavioral economics, shedding light on how we perceive and react to the act of spending money. The pain of paying is a psychological discomfort experienced when parting with money. It's like a mental alarm bell, ringing louder with every dollar that leaves your wallet. This pain is not just a figment of your imagination. It's a real psychological response, linked to the brain's aversion to loss. Picture this. You're at a fancy restaurant, and the bill arrives. If you're paying with cash, you physically see your money leaving your hands. Each banknote you count out intensifies the pain of parting with your hard-earned money. Now, compare this to swiping a credit card or tapping your phone. The act is swift, almost painless. There's no immediate tangible loss, so the pain of paying is significantly dulled. But why does this matter? Well, understanding this pain can be a powerful tool in managing our spending habits. The less pain we feel when paying, the more likely we are to spend, often leading to impulsive or unnecessary purchases. Therefore, by increasing the pain of paying, we can potentially curb excessive spending. Here's a strategy. Consider using cash for discretionary purchases. The physical act of handing over money heightens the pain of paying, making us think twice before splashing out on that extra pair of shoes or the latest tech gadget. On the other hand, use cards for necessary expenses, like bills and groceries, where the convenience and security of digital payments outweigh the benefits of feeling the pain. Moreover, being mindful of our spending, acknowledging that sting when we part with our money, can lead us to make more considered decisions. It can help us evaluate if a purchase is truly worth the price, and not just in terms of dollars, but in the effort, time, and sacrifice it represents. By understanding the pain of paying, we can make more mindful spending decisions. Ever noticed how we mentally allocate money for specific purposes? This is what we call mental accounting. Imagine you have two jars of money. One is labeled groceries and the other is labeled vacation. Now suppose you've run out of grocery money but still have plenty in the vacation jar. Even though it's all your money, you might hesitate to dip into the vacation fund for groceries. This is a classic example of mental accounting. Mental accounting is a cognitive framing effect in which people categorize and treat money differently depending on where it comes from, where it is kept, or how it is spent. It's a concept that was developed by Richard Thaler, a Nobel laureate in economics, who found that people think of value in relative rather than absolute terms. Now you might be wondering, isn't it a bit irrational to treat the same money differently? Well, yes it is, but it's also human, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Mental accounting can sometimes lead to irrational decisions, such as spending a tax refund on a splurge purchase while carrying credit card debt. However, it can also be a powerful tool for managing personal finances. For instance, by dividing your money into separate accounts for different purposes, you can keep better track of your spending and saving. It's easier to avoid overspending on dining out if you have a dedicated dining account and can see exactly how much you've spent and how much is left. Another way to leverage mental accounting is to make saving feel less like a sacrifice. Instead of thinking about saving as giving up spending money now, think of it as giving money to your future self. This reframing can make saving feel more rewarding and less painful. In conclusion, mental accounting is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it can lead to irrational financial decisions. On the other hand, if used wisely, it can help you manage your money more effectively. So, next time you're making a financial decision, remember that it's not just about the numbers. It's also about how you frame those numbers in your mind. By leveraging mental accounting, we can improve our financial management. Our brain often plays tricks on us, especially when it comes to money. Let's explore how. In the world of finance, cognitive biases are the mental shortcuts we often take, leading us to make irrational decisions. Two of the most common ones are overconfidence and loss aversion. Overconfidence is when we believe our ability to perform tasks or make decisions is better than it actually is. For instance, you might think you're a stock market guru because you made a few successful trades. However, this overconfidence can lead to risky financial decisions like overinvesting in stocks without proper analysis. On the other hand, loss aversion is the tendency to prefer avoiding losses more than acquiring equivalent gains. It's why the thought of losing $100 is more distressing than the joy of finding the same amount. This bias can lead to poor money choices, such as holding on to a poorly performing investment longer than necessary out of fear of realizing a loss. Now, you might be wondering how to combat these cognitive biases. First, recognize their existence. No one is immune. The key is to be aware of them and their potential to skew your financial judgment. For overconfidence, a good strategy is to seek advice from financial experts or use financial tools for informed decision-making. Don't let a few wins inflate your self-confidence. When it comes to loss aversion, understand that losses are part of the investment process. Rather than avoiding losses, focus on the overall growth of your portfolio. It's also helpful to have a well-thought-out investment plan that you can stick to, helping you make decisions based on strategy rather than emotion. By being aware of these cognitive biases, we can avoid falling into common financial traps. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate these biases. That's impossible. Instead, aim to mitigate their impact on your financial decisions. The journey to financial wisdom is filled with lessons, and understanding our cognitive biases is a significant leap towards making better money choices. Ever indulge in retail therapy when you're feeling down? Let's see how emotions influence our spending. It's common to associate spending with emotions. Think about it. When we're happy, we celebrate by treating ourselves or others. When we're sad, we seek comfort in purchasing something new. This is what psychologists call emotional spending. It's when our emotions, rather than our needs or budgets, drive our spending decisions. But why does this happen? Well, spending can trigger a release of dopamine, a feel-good hormone, which makes us feel better temporarily. However, the key word here is temporarily. The rush of happiness we feel when buying something new often fades away quickly, and we're left with the bill. Emotional spending can become a cycle. We feel down, we buy something to cheer ourselves up. We feel guilty for overspending, which makes us feel down again, and the cycle continues. Breaking this cycle requires awareness and self-reflection. So how can we manage emotional spending? First, we need to identify our emotional triggers. Are we spending more when we're stressed, bored, or sad? Once we know our triggers, we can find healthier and less expensive ways to cope with these emotions. Second, we can adopt a waiting period before making a purchase. If we still want the item after a day or two, it's likely not an emotional impulse buy. Third, we can set a budget for discretionary spending. This gives us the freedom to treat ourselves within a limit, preventing overspending. Lastly, we can practice mindful spending. This means being fully aware of why we're buying something, how it fits into our budget, and how it will impact our financial goals. Remember, it's okay to treat ourselves once in a while. The key is not to let our emotions take over our spending decisions. Next time you're feeling emotional, remember that retail therapy is not the only way to cope. Did you know that societal expectations and cultural background can shape our spending habits? This might sound surprising, but it's a key element in understanding our financial behaviors. Consider this. Ever felt compelled to buy a round of drinks at a social gathering? Or maybe you felt the pressure to keep up with the latest fashion trends, or to own the newest tech gadgets just because everyone else seems to have them. These are examples of societal influences on our spending. Societal expectations can often lead to what's known as conspicuous consumption, the act of spending money on luxury goods and services to display wealth and social status. The problem is, this kind of spending may not align with our individual financial goals or values. Our cultural background can also play a significant role in shaping our financial behaviors. For instance, in some cultures, saving is highly valued and encouraged from a young age, while in others, spending and living in the moment is more the norm. Certain cultures emphasize the importance of gift giving, which can influence how much we spend on presents for family and friends. Others may have traditions or customs that involve significant outlays of money, like extravagant weddings or elaborate holiday celebrations. So what can we do to ensure these social and cultural influences don't lead us astray from our financial goals? The first step is awareness. Reflect on your own spending habits. Are there instances where you've spent money due to societal pressures or cultural norms rather than your own needs or desires? Next, consider setting boundaries. It's okay to say no to spending that doesn't align with your financial plans. Be open about your financial goals with friends and family. You might be surprised to find others who share your values and support your decisions. In the end, remember that it's your money, and you have the power to decide how to use it. Social and cultural influences can provide context and shape our financial behaviors, but they don't have to dictate our spending. Remember, it's important to spend based on your personal needs and goals, not societal pressures. Now that we understand the psychology behind our spending, how can we use this knowledge to spend smarter? Let's dive into some practical tips. First, a powerful weapon against impulse buying is the 24-hour rule. Feel the urge to buy something unplanned? Wait for 24 hours. If you still want it then, go ahead. This simple pause can make all the difference in preventing regretful purchases. Next, leverage the pain of paying. Remember how it feels more painful to hand over cash than to swipe a card. Use that to your advantage. Make discretionary spending a cash-only affair. You'll think twice before parting ways with your hard-earned notes. Another strategy is to use mental accounting wisely. Set up dedicated savings accounts for specific goals, like a dream vacation or an emergency fund. Seeing your money grow towards these targets can be incredibly motivating. Now let's tackle cognitive biases. Overconfidence can lead us to underestimate costs or overestimate returns. To counter this, always plan for contingencies. Assume things will cost more and take longer than you think. As for loss aversion, remember that sometimes the cost of not doing something can be higher than the cost of doing it. Emotional spending can be a tricky beast to tame, but awareness is half the battle. Start by identifying your emotional triggers. Are you a retail therapy shopper or a celebratory spender? Once you know your triggers, find healthier coping mechanisms. Lastly, question social norms. Just because everyone else seems to be spending on the latest gadgets or designer clothes doesn't mean you have to. Define your own norms based on your values and financial goals. By applying these strategies, you can take control of your spending and improve your financial health. Remember, the goal isn't to stop spending, but to spend smarter. With a little knowledge and some practical strategies, you can make your money work for you, not against you. Understanding the psychology of money is key to better financial health. We've delved into the fascinating world of behavioral economics, peeked into the triggers of impulse buying, and grappled with the concept of pain of paying. We've explored the power of mental accounting, cognitive biases, emotional influences, and social and cultural factors that shape our spending habits. By understanding these concepts, we can make more informed decisions about our money, turning the tide on unconscious spending habits and fostering financial health. We can harness the power of behavioral economics to our advantage, using it as a tool to reshape our financial behaviors and ultimately, our lives. Remember, impulse buying can be tamed by introducing waiting periods, and emotional spending can be managed by identifying triggers and finding alternative coping mechanisms. The pain of paying can be leveraged to our advantage by using cash for discretionary expenses, and mental accounting can be a useful tool if we set aside savings in dedicated accounts for specific goals. Our financial decisions are often influenced by cognitive biases, societal expectations, and cultural backgrounds. By becoming aware of these influences, we can make conscious efforts to mitigate their effects. It's about taking control of our financial destiny and not leaving it to chance or external factors. As we conclude this journey into the psychology of money, let's carry these insights into our everyday lives. Let's be mindful spenders, savvy savers, and wise investors. The road to financial empowerment starts with understanding our spending behaviors and making conscious, informed decisions. If you found this exploration of behavioral economics insightful, do give us a thumbs up, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more content on financial literacy. If you have experiences or insights related to behavioral economics and personal finance, we invite you to share them in the comments section below. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for joining us in this exploration of behavioral economics. Remember, Understanding your spending behaviors is the first step towards financial empowerment.